Dive right in. If you've ever wanted to get a real grip on your inventory, making sure every single movement is tracked, controlled, and posted correctly in SAP S4HANA, well, you're in exactly the right place. Today, we're going to break down the key configurations that give you that power. So let's just start with the biggest question of all. How do you actually control the flow of every single part in your system? I mean, from the second a component hits the loading dock to the moment it's issued out to a production line, it can feel pretty overwhelming. But the answer, really, is all in the setup. And here's the good news. We can boil all of that complexity down to just 3 core areas of configuration. Seriously, if you get these 3 right, you are going to be in complete control of all your goods movements. So here's our game plan. We're going to walk through this step by step. We'll start with customizing the main screen that your users see every day. That's MeGo. Then we'll dive into the core logic with movement types. After that, we'll set the high-level plant rules, and then we'll wrap it all up with a super simple checklist for you. Okay, first up, let's talk about the overall controls. I want you to think of these settings as the central nervous system for your entire inventory. It's the core logic, the brains behind the operation that governs every single thing that moves. Our first practical stop is the MIGO transaction. This is the main gateway, right? It's the front door for all goods movements, so making this screen clean, simple, and efficient for your users is a massive win right out of the gate. And hey, a super important pro tip right off the bat, if you're coming from an older SAP system, you're probably used to transactions like MB1A or MB1C. Forget them. Seriously, in S4HANA, they are obsolete. MeGo is your new, single, go-to transaction for everything. It's a big change, yeah, but trust me, it's a good one. Now, the main way we customize MeGo is through something called field selection. It sounds technical, but it's really simple. It's just the process of deciding which fields your users see. We can hide all the fields they don't need, which cuts down on clutter and mistakes. Or, and this is powerful, we can make critical fields mandatory, like a delivery note number, to make sure your data quality is always top-notch. And what's really cool here is just how much control SAP gives you. If you look in the configuration, you'll see these technical prefixes. Anything that starts with GO head, that controls the header of the screen. GO item controls the individual line items down below. You can even hide buttons you don't want people pressing by using the OK- prefix. It is incredibly precise. But, and this is a really important but, there's a limit to what we can do here at the MeGo level. Some fields are context sensitive. Take the reason for movement field, for example. It makes 0 sense to make that mandatory for all movements, right? You only need it for specific things, like when you're scrapping material. And that next level of control, well, that brings us perfectly to our next topic. Let's talk about movement types. If MeGo is the user interface, then you can think of movement types as the DNA of the transaction. Each one is a little 3-digit code that tells SAP exactly how to behave. And getting this wrong, well, it can mean your inventory values are wrong on the company's balance sheet, or the wrong materials get ordered, causing a production line to stop. It is that critical. So the formal definition is that it's a central control parameter, but what does that really mean? It means it dictates everything. Which financial accounts get hit, how inventory quantities get updated, which fields the user has to fill out, and even what follow-up actions might happen automatically. It's the absolute engine of inventory management. The incredible part is how much control you have inside each movement type. For instance, under entry control, you can force things like shelf life checks. Under update control, you could tell the system to automatically create a storage location for a material if it doesn't already exist. And look, field selection is here again. This is where you'd make a field like reason for movement mandatory, but only for this specific process. And it goes even deeper, especially with the financial and logistical power. The account grouping literally connects the physical movement to a specific set of GL accounts for automatic posting. Reversals/follow-on is a lifesaver. It makes sure that if you cancel a movement, the system knows exactly which reversal movement type to use. And that brings us to 2 very, very important concepts, the value and quantity strings. Let's break this down, because it is vital. The value string is all about the money. It's the link to finance, controlling which GL accounts get debited and credited. The quantity string, on the other hand, is all about the physical stuff. It controls which quantity fields in the material master get updated. So one talks to finance, the other talks to inventory management. Simple as that. Okay, so we've configured our main screen for the users, and we've set up the detailed logic for every transaction. Now, we're going to zoom out to the highest level of control we have, the plant parameters. Think of these as the general ground rules that apply to all goods movements within one specific factory or warehouse. And these aren't just little conveniences, they are your company policy built right into the system. For example, activating a missing parts check at goods receipt, that can stop a production line from starting a job it can't finish, which can save a huge amount of time and money down the road. Now this is a big one, negative stocks. By default, SAP will not let you issue more stock than you physically have. But here, at the plat level, you can switch it on. But look closely at the key takeaway here. You can't just tick a box and call it a day. You also have to explicitly allow it for the valuation area, for the specific storage location, and in the material master record itself. It is a 4-level safety check, and for very good reason. Plant parameters are also a huge help in streamlining your physical inventory count. Let's be honest, nobody loves doing the annual stock take, right? Well, this is all about making that high-stress manual process way smoother. By setting a default reason for inventory differences, for example, you make the financial reconciliation process so much easier later. Every single click you save during a stock count is a win. And finally, you can manage material reservations. And this isn't just about keeping things tidy. An old, forgotten reservation can incorrectly show that material is already spoken for, which might prevent it from being used for an urgent new order. Getting this configured right makes sure your material availability data is always accurate. So, wow, we've covered a lot of ground. Let's pull all of that together into a simple, actionable checklist that really summarizes the whole process. Here it is, your 3-step path to mastering goods movement configuration. Number 1, customize MIGO. Create a clean, efficient experience for your users. Number 2, master your movement types. This is where you define the precise financial and logistical DNA of every transaction. And number 3, set your plant parameters to establish the high-level operating rules for your facility. And that brings us to the end. Now that you have the map of where all these controls are, the final question is really for you. Just think about your own processes at your company. Is it your goods receipt process? Is it scrapping? Maybe stock transfers? Which one of those processes could you make more efficient or more accurate just by applying what we've talked about today?